Welcome back to Superior Sunrise. Now with me is Kristin Jaworski with the Fort Worth Herd. It's a great thing down here in the Fort Worth stockyards. I know people travel from all over to see the Longhorns and see the establishment that you guys have. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Kristin?
Absolutely. We are so blessed here in the historic Fort Worth stockyards to be able to drive these absolute majestic Texas Longhorns right here down the street in the middle of the stockyards twice a day at 11:30 and 4 o'clock, 7 days a week.
I know every time I'm like, hey, I have to plan my schedule of going around lunch or running errands. I'm like, oh, that's right, another cattle drive. But there's always people lined up on the streets. I mean, they really come out to see them, and you guys have educational events for them. Tell us all about that.
We do. We have up to 1 million people a year that line the sidewalks just to see the cattle drive. And then we have an education program that over 17,000 kids, usually fourth graders, come see. We're teaching about life on the trail and the American cowboy, and actually preserving the Western heritage that we get to represent here in Fort Worth.
Well, for people who aren't familiar with the Fort Worth Herd, I mean, it's a lot of donations that go into it. You guys work really, really hard. People are on horseback all day long, yourself included. Can you tell us about that?
We have great staff. We keep the program very historically correct, so it's very authentic. So we are managed by the Fort Worth Convention and Visitors Bureau, but we have a wonderful nonprofit support group and board of directors, a lot of volunteers that it takes to put this program together. So we do operate with a lot of in-kind donations, so we're constantly doing fundraisers and different initiatives to keep the education program alive.
I know it's an amazing thing to see, not only the cattle drive, but just how you guys conduct yourselves throughout the day and interacting with folks that come on the streets and come to see the Fort Worth stockyards. It's really amazing. I know, speaking of a campaign though, Bluegrass is a Longhorn that has set world records. Can you tell us about him?
Well, I heard about Bluegrass when he broke the world record with these amazing horns that range a tip-to-tip measurement of 119 and a half inches tip-to-tip. So what a great way to enhance our education program by giving the people from all over the world and these kids an opportunity to see something like that.
And I know you have a campaign that started to get Bluegrass from Kansas all the way here to Texas.
Yeah, you know, I keep saying he's not a Kansas Longhorn, he's a Texas Longhorn, so he truly needs to reside here in Fort Worth, and what a great place for people to see him in the stockyards. So he's being sold here in the stockyards. We've just got to get the public involved. All of the Longhorns are donated to the Fort Worth Herd program, and he can be another one that can be donated as well, but he's got to be bought first.
Well, what's the process of getting Bluegrass here? How can we help, or how can the audience at home help us get Bluegrass here to Texas?
Well, thank you for asking, of course. So we started a GoFundMe account, so that is a way that people can be involved with as little as a $5 donation, and of course as great as anybody would like to contribute, because he is being sold here at the Fort Worth Longhorn auction that will be held September 30th, and that's a really neat event. There'll be over 100 of the most elite Longhorns being sold here in the stockyards, and so he'll be lot number 1, and that gives the support group an opportunity to actually purchase that steer with the donated funds, and that steer will become part of the Fort Worth Herd program.
I know you and I talked about this before we came on, but there's some big plans for Bluegrass if the Fort Worth Herd is able to purchase him. What do you guys intend to do with him? You
know, I think that obviously with him being such an amazing steer with his horn span, our biggest steer right now is 86 inches tip to tip. With him being 119, that's 33 inches bigger than any of the steers we have. So we can teach people about their horns, teach them about truly the Longhorn breed, and really be a representative of the cattle in the industry here in Fort Worth.
I know you and I talk about, this is the Western way of life down here. The Fort Worth Herd is such a big part of it, and I want to thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you.
When we come back, Superior Livestock employee Beth Bryan. Don't go anywhere.